I guarantee you're not. You talk a lot.
Well, 23 and me African, that ain't a way for you to get into any sort of social circle unless you have made a bond and have some family shit like you say that you did. Well, if you did, then I support it 100%. But that is not just being a Pan-African. That's using the DNA test to track your possible ancestry. That's family. That's something succinct. That's not just some random absentee. That's your family. So do that if you can. Next question.
Okay. So you see, you did all that to take away from the point that you made earlier. You said a whole bunch of nothingness, thinking you were teaching somebody something. This is where you need to slow down.
Peace. Good morning. Early afternoon, I guess. Brunch time, whatever it is. You got a good morning. Sitting here on Q Butter's channel right now.
So it goes back to this idea of random black people reaching out randomly to black people on the continent of Africa. So is this your problem, or is this your idea of pan-Africanism, that it's just random people trying to help random people?
Where the people at?
Pan-Africanism is? No.
It's about time we have some real conversations. Y'all keep running from this real information. Let's see what conversations today. Look. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Niggas think they bullies. Perfect timing.
And see, this is the other thing. You can't overtalk me because I'm just as manly as you. So again,
internet threats.
I don't want to bring it there either.
So you got Not Measy, the Unk Snatcher, versus Sabio, the Pseudo Assassin. Damn. Marty Martyr God. That's a positive attribute. Marty Martyr God. And you got devastating for you. That's not a positive attribute. And I'm not dealing with any of these people. I'm just dealing with the psyche of how people even name themselves, right? So you got Marty Martyr God, that's peace, right? Gives you a positive feeling. And you got devastating for you. All right, that's not like, okay, we about to sit down and have a conversation. Who we talking to? Devastating for you. Damn, that sets the tone. Then you got Not Measy, the Ankh Snatcher. So he's basically saying he's snatching your Ankh. If you fuck with that type of spirituality, he's snatching it from you. And you got Sabio, the Pseudo Assassin. And then you got Mata Jata, Moten Gang Gator, which is the older brother. But I'm just looking at the you know, how you come. Motherfuckers come as devastating. The Ankh Snatcher, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take something from you. So I mean, I be looking in the window before I even enter into the room. I look through the door, look through the glass, see what's up in there before I even walk in the building. And I move off energy, right? Presentation, ideology, right? How people treat other people, talk to each other. So I sit and listen to people's channels, and at times, I like to come on and add to the build, or you know what I mean? But everything is to destroy to build. We build to destroy. You add that positive charge, all negativity gonna fall to the wayside. It's just a natural, you know what I'm saying? So we don't gotta take shit from people. We just give them more, right? And in the process of giving, you know what I mean, if they understand how to build and destroy, right? In the process of somebody giving you something, you're gonna have to discard of some things, right? Because you can carry but so much, or you a hoarder. Feel me? If a nigga got a million pennies in his pocket and I come get that nigga $1 million, he probably gonna get rid of them pennies for them dollars. If it come to, like, you know what I'm saying? Point I'm trying to make is to acquire new jewels, sometimes you gotta get rid of the old ones. That's building. Destroying is when somebody comes steal your jewels from you and don't give you nothing equal or greater to it. They just coming to destroy you. They're not coming to build and destroy. Feel me? They coming to destroy. And that's what bullies do. Let's see what else you got to say about bullies.
When they're interacting with people of the African diaspora, what is wrong?
Peace, bro. Peace, Darren. Peace, Sean Ruffner. Yes, sir. We talking about bullies today. That's the degree I'm on.
It's an idea. So it's the idea of reaching out and helping your fellow Black person in any way, shape, or form. Is that a crime? Is there something really negative about that? Like, for real? Because this complaining about pan-africanism, that shit is weak.
Yeah, that's just weird.
All right, that was a great question, brother. So, look, as an ideology, right, on paper, it sounds awesome. It sounds great. If I could snap my fingers and say, I want all Black people to see each other as brothers and sisters and make it happen, I'd be snapping my fingers until I had no skin left. The fact of the matter is that Black people have never seen themselves as the same. We are the first Black people that were forced to unify under duress. That duress being the slave trade leading into slavery, Jim Crow, and everything else. And then everything.
I agree with that. Different groups of people have been forced to assimilate under a singular identity because of the Atlantic slave trade, which had a ripple effect on so much. But the colonization, and if you just want to say the colonization of the Americas, forced people of dark complexions and hues to identify under one identity, despite the fact they would have come from multiple different ancestries, locations, so on and so forth, right? That's the true issue. And for so long, our people were forced into a spell thinking we're all, not even understanding where we come from. So it's not even a matter of thinking we all one person. I mean, one people. We don't know what to think because we have not been exposed to the real truths. Like, I don't think Black America understood any of this shit, what really happened in a sense, until most recently. And we're still finding out now the painful details of colonization, because it ain't just slavery. It shit started before slavery. It started with colonization. And that's a colonization that took place all over the planet. So you got people being shifted around all over the planet And when they end up in America, we forced to identify as a singular people. And yeah, I believe that's wrong. And I believe that is at the heart of the confusion that everyone is facing now. And this attack on pan-Africanism and pan-Africanism, like, I don't think there was a family more Africanized, more African in terms of identity than my family in Fairhaven. They had a 6-foot scarab beetle on the exterior wall of the house. Everybody in the neighborhood drove past it and saw it. Now, just a little information on this town, Fairhaven. Fairhaven was one of the first freedmen towns in Monmouth County. So it was a town that was made up of freed slaves and also indigenous families. Big history of Fairhaven. Huge court case came out of Fairhaven that set the precedent for Brown versus Board of Education. There's a book that's going to be coming out about that. Huge precedents was set in Fairhaven, New Jersey. School was burnt down. And in the process of rebuilding the school, they didn't have nowhere for the kids to go. So the kids basically were integrated until the other school was built. And that was the first case in the United States where black kids and white kids went to school together. And that happened in Fairhaven, New Jersey, before the Brown versus Board of Education. Like I said, there's a book coming out, and definitely going to be an interesting read. Real history, real shit. But even back then, like, we talk about people being forced to identify under the same name, right? Negro. Is dark-skinned people all over the planet that would have been classified as Negro. That don't mean they're all the same Negro. Africans, African Americans, fucking Polynesians, Hawaiians, Indians, Dravidians. None of these people have a motherfucking copyright on complexion. None of these people have a fucking copyright on phenotype. All right. So because you see dark-skinned people doesn't mean it's the same dark-skinned people you come from. That is the issue. We've been forced to think that we're all the same people. And then if we look different, our excuse is you got the white man in you. Ain't got shit to do with nothing other than that, because we oversimplify shit. We fear what you don't understand. And we don't understand our past. So we fear it. So when you see somebody my complexion, it's got to do with the white person, right? Check this out. I'm gonna show y'all how crazy this is, right? I'm light-skinned because of some white people in my family, right? And people like to say, oh, they probably got raped, all this wild, crazy shit, right? Now, that's the looks like, right? Looks like. Then you have somebody like Chief Eagle Eye, the chief from Harlem. He's got to be the darkest Indian in North America. I dare you find me a darker Indian than Chief Eagle Eye. That's my man. Chief Eagle Eye. Supposed to be with him today, but it's a little cold. Supposed to go out to Uncle Chuck. You know what I'm saying? But you will not find an Indian in North America, maybe anywhere. You got to go to the Dravidians to find it. And when I say an Indian, let's not get into the childish, Indians are from India. Let's not get into all that. All right. You will not find a darker Native American than Chief Eagle Eye. And Chief Eagle Eye proudly speaks on his heritage and him being a descendant of the Hudsons, as in Henry Hudson. European people, white people. So this man dark as hell, but he can identify who his European ancestors are. And he dark as hell already at this point. So what does having a European ancestor in your family really mean when it comes to this, our complexions? Now, to imply that I'm light-skinned because I would have a direct European answer, like maybe one of my parents or one of my grandparents, nope. Hell no. The further back I go, the darker my people get. And if I show you my African grandmother, ain't no question to it. So why am I light skinned? It's just the genetics, bro. I got cousins that are dark skinned that are on the same genetic level as me, meaning my grandmother had 16 kids, 13 daughters. All 13 of those daughters passed my grandmother's genetics down to their children. And whichever one were women passed their genetics down to their children. So at this point, me and all of my cousins all come from my grandmother. And we come in all different shades. And we're literally, I can't pass it on no more. But all my female cousins can pass on our grandmother's genetics. It stops with me. I can't pass it on, right? But my cousin Ree can, my cousin Naya can, my cousin Tracy can, my cousin Dawn can. See? But we really all the same people. Some of us dark, some of us light. It like that shit is juvenile. That shit is the shit that got everybody stuck. Everybody looking for the most simple answer. Oh, looks like this. Rest in peace to Runoko Rashidi, right? This is not to disparage him. But he sat up here. He's one of the people that's responsible for us claiming the OLMECS. And why do we claim the OLMECS? Because of how these statues look. Not how the people look, how the statues look. You understand? We're not claiming the OLMECS because of how the people look. African Americans claim Olmecs because of how 20 Olmec heads look, not how the Olmec people look. Forget that. We look at the mask, look at their pieces of art, look at their art. Why? Because we the looks like crew. We the about to. That's who the Americans are. We the about tos that looks like. We about to do this and we about to do that. About to claim our land and get it all back. We the about tos. And our culture is a looks like. That's what Americans have reduced all this shit to. Shit don't look like nothing. Shit look like you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm sorry if that might be offensive, but sometimes you just got to shake a person up. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I watched Runoko Rashidi give a demonstration on the OLMECS. And the most powerful thing he said was, bring anybody to me. I dare anybody to tell me this head don't look like me. That was his most powerful statement. Bring me anybody. I dare them to say this head don't look like me. Now, he also went on to show various different pieces of Olmec art. He showed transformation number 47. He showed it and did not take the opportunity to build on what this piece of art was about. Nope, he stuck to the looks like. When if he'd have actually said, okay, let's find out what these pieces of art mean, then you would have got the whole transformation. You would have got the whole build on what they're actually showing you in this art. But no, the people that we have entrusted our psyche to, right? And I understand why. I was there when it was all happening, right? But I'm telling you, there's a flaw in their reasoning. And they wanted to believe certain things. So they did no type of research on anything but how shit looked. Now check it out. There is and I'm gonna go through all this. I'm gonna pull this video up. and go through it. So it's not just me saying it, but there is a Olmec. It's an altar, and it's called the Negro, right? And it clearly looks like an African man. Clearly looks like a black man with a little tight afro. Can't mistake it for nothing else. You'd be a fool to say this is anything but a black man, an old black man. Exactly what it looks like. Like I put money on it. But what you're actually looking at is another transformation piece. And there is a finished piece that goes with it. Meaning these statues that they show you are artwork reflecting different times in the transformation, right? So if you look at the Michael Jackson Thriller video as he's turning, if you take snapshots at every different time during his morph, and then you made 18 heads, this is what was going on. That's a better understanding of what you're looking at. You don't, that's fine. I know it looks like something. I get it. But check it out. Rugby looks like football, but it's not the same sport. And in fact, soccer is actually called football, but it's not the same sport. And if you just quick glance and hear somebody talking, you might think Pele played for the National Football League, but he did not. Rest in peace to Pele. So what people are doing is formulating ideologies in their head, and they're dealing with biased research. Now, I get it. It was a period in time where we had to be raised up. You know what I mean? Black Americans was like, we was in a bad place, right? So people like Clarence 13X Smith, you know what I mean, taught these young youth in the street, the black man is God. And some people took it literal. Some people understood that was just to raise your self-esteem. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things going on to help us raise our self-esteem, right? Pan-Africanism was one of them. That shit was to help raise awareness and the self-esteem of people. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We were so far gone detached, we needed something to bring us back. And African spirituality, things like that, and history centered us because we had nothing else to grab onto. Whatever connections, for the most part, people had with their indigenous American families have been severed 100 years ago, 200 years ago. And if your people didn't diligently keep it, you would have lost it by that time. So everybody used African spirituality to kind of phase back into the reality of us being indigenous people. You never would have came back to the realization that you can even consider yourself indigenous if it wasn't for African history, culture, and spirituality. Because you wasn't learning it from your ancestors here unless you was really coming from them communities. Of course they talking about me. They got nothing else to talk about, but they know this the truth. And I got forever. Their time is limited. That's why they got to go hard and they got to talk about me because they know what's going on because they all come over here and they watch. Like, I'm good. Like, they don't even know what they fucking with. That's how stupid they are. It's like, it's beyond, this shit bigger than them. It's way bigger than them. So, yeah, they I know they hating this Olmec bill because nobody's talking about it. But I know 20,000 people saw this bill. 20,000, I know who saw it. Rich get good numbers. They don't want to deal with this because they don't want to deal with culture. They want to deal with what shit look like. And I'm telling you, Runoko Rashidi, rest in peace to that man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to disparage him, but in the zeal of trying to uplift our people and make Black Americans feel proud, we went and claimed everything that looks like us. You know why? Because you can only measure shit on what shit look like. Because they stole everything else from you. They stole your language, your identity, all that. We're not denying that. But in your zeal to get it back, you can't do the same thing to other people. That shit's crazy. Now let's sit down and talk. And why don't y'all fucking have conversations with people like you trying to figure yourself out of a maze, and this motherfucker standing on the outside of the maze saying, we can help you. You're like, nah, fuck that. Y'all motherfuckers are part of this shit. No, nigga, you caught up in this shit. We out here telling you we over here. Y'all motherfuckers running around the maze trying to figure yourself out, and we already out this bitch. Now you got everybody else following y'all around this motherfucking maze, getting even more lost. And we out here like, yo, waving like shit. You know what I mean? Got our flag up at the UN telling you niggas where to go. Volcano is erupting and you motherfuckers can't see the smoke. Shit crazy. But all them over there that's falling for it, that's cool. That's cool. We don't need everybody. Creator ain't placed that shit in their heart. So it won't matter. But you know, it is what it is. But that's where this bullying shit come in, right? All this shit come back to bullying. So what I want people to understand is, let me show you something. I don't need no more views. The right people gonna get it. Nobody want to hear this, bro. I sit at a weird crossroads amongst us. Everybody got some shit that they projecting and they carrying with them. And I'm trying to be transparent, and that shit is that shit is not that shit is scary. So this right here, I don't know, Dan, if you ever was in my crib growing up. That's what sat in my living room. That right there, that was my motherfucking boom box. Right? Look at that fucking shit. Look how big that shit is. Record player, TV, radio, and an 8-track player. Look at that shit. Huge. And believe it or not, I got that motherfucker up a flight of steps. Decided I wanted that motherfucker upstairs. Right? That's old. That come from a time when you wanted to listen to music, you needed something like that. You ain't just have the cell phone real easy. Boop. Cell phone do what that do and 100,000 other more things. But I come from that era. Right? So I come from an era where if you was going to bully a nigga, you really had to bully a nigga. You like this internet bully shit was not like didn't exist. So what I've come to realize is that a lot of these people, when they attempt to bully you, it shows how fragile they really are because they think this shit is going to work. Why? Because it probably would work on them. You know what I'm saying? Like you're dealing with fragile people. And I joke and I call people stupid and all that. Some motherfuckers is just stupid. I mean, I can't even talk myself back. Some niggas are stupid. But when I call these certain individuals stupid, the problem is all the people that follow them identify with them dumbass niggas. So they think I'm calling them stupid. Nah, I don't think y'all stupid. I think y'all in search of shit. I think y'all looking for a fucking leader. Because you're scared to lead yourself. You're scared to stand on your own fucking truth. Give a fuck who don't like me, who don't like you. You scared of that shit. And that's the only thing that's going to save you from all this shit. Niggas talk about being sovereign, and they not even sovereign within their own selves. You feel me? They not even self-sovereign. Meaning they care about what other people say. Like they not even their own people. And they need others to co-sign them so they can feel comfortable about what they believe to be their truth. And that's a sickness. That's not good. Y'all need, like, this motherfucker, you need some medicine. You need some real medicine. And part of the medicine was raising your spirit. And the elders did that. And they used African spirituality, African history. They used Caribbean history. They used a whole lot of histories. I remember a time when Genghis Khan was a bad motherfucker. Wasn't nobody tripping on Genghis Khan? Like, yeah, that motherfucker wrecked shit. Like now all of a sudden the Mongolians and they this fucking demon horde and this and that. What? Like, when the fuck did the brown people become the bad people? I don't care what complexion they was. When did that start on the planet? When did we get to that? That shit crazy. When did we get to that? So, very astute gentleman, young man, probably young man. I hope he's young. Hope he's not old. But this is at OC Quan King, at OC Quan King. OC Quan King says, you mad and you not a Naga. That recessive blood show its true colors, don't it? Like, okay, so I'm not a Naga. I'm not a serpent god from India. No, I'm not. Okay. So you took something from me that I never claimed. Damn. That's real challenging. You stole something from me that was never mine. You just took something from me that I never claimed, nor was never mine. That's real challenging. That's straw man. That's straw man. Now you're saying that recessive blood show its true colors, don't it? What is the color of recessive blood? What color is recessive blood? Can you explain to me what color is recessive blood? I think you're showing your true colors and your true ignorance. True ignorance. Like either way, supreme ignorance and cowardness. Like that's what cowards do. You feel me? Like this is what I mean by these like internet bullies who are fragile within their own selves because they think writing something like this could change anybody's trajectory. You know what I'm saying? Like when you fake and you fraudulent and you not walking in your true path, yeah, that shit can get altered. Somebody could nudge you off it. Somebody could embarrass you. Somebody could make you feel, you know what I mean, less than yourself and you abandon your path because it ain't really your path. It's just a path you on. That's not what this is. There's nothing, like literally so little, like there's nothing on the face of the planet that could ever alter me off my path, let alone a few words from somebody. And what happens is everything that come out your mouth give me an opportunity to show and prove, you know what I'm saying, and bring another jewel. Like I could attach a jewel to all the devil shit that y'all do, showing and proving y'all devil. Just through your words, through your expression, you devil. So you trying to deal with my esteem. You trying to take from me, you know what I'm saying, things I never claimed, right? You trying to have a negative impact on me spiritually through the words you type. You didn't type nothing there to bring any joy into my cipher. So how do I respond? So at OC Quan King. The thing is, my African and Native ancestors accomplished tremendous feats. And they left all of what they did to me and my relatives We know exactly what we contributed to this world. Documented facts. Now you want to try to place your own insecurities on me. You are projecting your own self-loathing on me. You hate yourself because you don't know who the fuck you are. You don't know what your ancestors did or contributed. You don't know the language they spoke or the culture they lived. I understand it hurts. So you see me and naturally you are envious, but it's no need, brother. Absolutely none. Take the negative energy and transmute it into something positive and produce a positive thought for yourself. Go create something. Go do something to show love for yourself, right? And transmute that energy into something that where you could see something. I don't give a fuck if you just go make a bowl, nigga. Go take a pottery class and make a fucking bowl, nigga. Then sit your ass down and smoke a fucking blunt and put the ashes out in that bowl you just fucking made. You'll feel better about yourself, right? Way better about yourself than trying to come on my fucking platform and think you're gonna fucking budge me. Let me tell you, bro, this shit might go over your head, but when I say we are the rocks they could not remove, bro, you can't make this shit up, nigga. My family name we are the rocks, nigga. Look up the term black is beautiful. You know who you'll find attached to that? John S. Rock, nigga. We are the rocks that could not be removed. We are Muncie Lenape. The term Muncie translates to people of the rocks and stones. This shit is written. My African ancestor came here with a name that attached him to the fucking very people he intermarried with. That shit seems supernatural. Like, yeah, y'all in over your head, all of them. They in way over their head. So with that, I said, do something to feel good about yourself. Know that now, know that if this is your attempt to do that, you are in need of more help than you can get on YouTube. See a therapist, then go get a good genealogist. Until then, peace to you and your spirit. We'll send prayers up to Creator for you. Peace. That's how I respond to these niggas now, man. Because I see what y'all doing. Y'all trying to drag a nigga off his path. But this the thing. Y'all can have this mundane world. If YouTube is your world, you can have it. But you don't even own that. You have no personal sovereignty. You have no intellectual sovereignty because all your information come out of the very people's books that you despise. You have no spiritual sovereignty. What do you stand on? You don't even have a cohesive, like the Olmec civilized Mesoamerica because they were able to overlay multiple facets of what of aspects of culture, right? Common language, right? Common practices, common religious practices, common laws. When you start stacking all these things up, you got a bunch of people. That's when you start to form a civilization as opposed to egalitarian communities that interact independently with each other, right? That's the difference between what the OLMECS brought and what was going on with all the other people. They brought a civilization, right? They formed a civilization based on laws and agreements that were universal amongst all the people participating. These niggas, they savages that live up in the mountains. And now they trying to come into the holy cities. But they come in with this wild savage shit because they've been up in the mountains on their own. You know what I mean? They trying to clean up. They've been sitting on the hills watching, learn how to dress, learn how to look like us, present themselves like us. You know what I mean? But they ain't They ain't totally civilized. Like all these people that's out here causing this shit. When I was growing up, we'd have called them 85ers. They 85ers. You know what I'm saying? They savages. They wouldn't have came around the gods. Not all of them. It's some 85ers that's official. That, you know what I mean? That would have stood on their square. But niggas like this, they not intellectually sound. They not respected in the community. You know what I'm saying? That's who they are. I guarantee you, every one of these people, if you go back to their communities and ask about them, you're not gonna hear no leadership. You're not gonna hear nothing about, yeah, they was at the front of the pack. They was always organizing. You ain't gonna hear none of that shit. You ain't gonna hear none of that shit. They grifters, but they got the attention of people. It's crazy. But let me get back to see what the fuck they were saying. But like, let's see what this bully shit is about, man. Trying to bully people.
In Central and South America, they were forced to unite based on blackness / their condition. Now, on the continent, it's different because now what we are, I'll give you an example. An Igbo is orange juice, a Yoruba is lemon juice, a Ga is grape juice. We are fruit punch. So we're a mix and amalgamation of those tribes, also with European, and some have Native American ancestry. So we share similar phenotypes, but culturally, we've been separated so long that it will be really hard to separate, to reconnect on anything outside of anything tangible. I'm not saying you shouldn't reconnect. I'm saying if you're going to connect, let it be on business. Let it be on something, on an expertise that you have, that they need, or that they have that you need. Not solely based on blackness, because blackness on a continent for the black people means nothing. It literally means nothing, and it's not, I would say it would take a back seat, but it's not even in the same vehicle, because ethnicity, subgroups, religion, clan, even if we take it in East Africa, we're going.
See, the shit he's talking about, unfortunately, Black Americans can't imagine because we were interrupted. You know what I mean? You hear people talking about, oh, I can't get back past the fucking the 1800s, 1700s. These are conversations that people are having now, right? They now having conversations about who their ancestors were, because the shit we've been through, today's Black Americans don't even think, that's not even a part of their mental fucking makeup to be able to say, yeah, I know where I come from. I know what village my people come from. I know my 15th grandfather. We can't even imagine that. We have no rites of passage. We have none of those things. So we can't imagine that other people actually have these things. Yeah. We got to get out of our own minds so we can receive all this information properly. Because it's things that we don't, that are beyond our realm of knowledge, because we've been stripped of our ancestral knowledge. So we got to super humble ourselves so we can start getting some of this knowledge back. And we're not going to get it back just by being vegan and eating and reading books and being religious. It's another component to it. You got to be around people who still got it. It's like a fire, right? Once that flame go out, only thing that carry that flame is the embers. You got to go retrieve the embers of this shit. So you got the same flame. You just can't light a new fire. It's going to be a different fire. Like, that's just how it is. You got to go get the essence of that shit. And that don't mean you begging for somebody for it. Because it ain't, you don't got to beg for it. It's just like anything else, though. In order, if you want to be that, you got to be that. Ain't nobody going to give it to you. Like, we not going to get this via reparations. We're not going to get back to where we supposed to because somebody gives it back to us. That'll never, ever happen. Ever.
Went down to clan. All this takes a front seat to any black sort of unity. It doesn't exist, it never has existed. And black unity from an African standpoint is foreign to them. This is why we had the Biafra War. This is why we had a lot of these separatist groups on the continent, because they say, yo, we are Biafrans, we're not Nigerians, we're out of here. We're going to respect our kingdom, and we're going to take that back. They're not trying to be Nigerian, they want to be Biafrans. You see, because they don't see each other as the same, so you can't unite as someone who's culturally separated for so long, don't speak the language, don't know the culture, looks different, walks, talks, acts different, and then you think you're gonna take it, not you personally, but brothers think they're gonna take a DNA test, wave it in the air like, yo, 23andMe, an African ancestry said that I'm part of the Mende people. No, and I'll tell you why that doesn't work, brother, because with those tests, first of all, they're for educational purposes only, right? But DNA is real. Those tests do not take into consideration inter-ethnic marriages and also migration patterns. So it can tell you where people that you share DNA with currently reside, right? But it won't tell you that the Ga people originally come from what is now known as Nigeria, right? It won't tell you the pattern.
Okay. Can I please stop you because you've been going for 5 minutes and I did not get a fucking answer. I haven't gotten an answer. You're talking at me, B. You're talking at me. You're talking at me. You're talking at me, B. You're talking at me. You haven't given me anything viable. You haven't given me anything usable for the answer. No, you can't teach me. Bro, bro, please get off your high horse. You can't teach me shit. You haven't said anything that I'm not aware of, B. You haven't said anything I'm not aware of. You haven't said anything. No, you're not. You're not cooking. You're talking at us. You're talking at us. You haven't given us anything towards the question that I laid towards you. You're just talking, saying random shit that we're all listen, watch this. No Asian person, no Asian is alike. No Mexican is alike. Nobody on the fucking planet is fucking alike. So all that shit you were saying about B, all this don't have to even be here.
And I mean, you can't fight your ass all the time doing that. It means nothing.
There you go, talking that. Actually, I'm a Nigerian from here. I'm a Nigerian from my family, telling me from the age of 4, nigga, that we come from Nigeria, nigga. So my family history. So my family history actually lines up with the DNA test. So my grandmother on my mom's side, so my grandfather on my mom's side, my mom, my aunties, my uncles, they all were telling us when we were young that we come from Nigeria.
So there he go, making his testimony as peace. His grandma told him he was from Nigeria. Yeah, they sound like church folk, right? Yeah. See that? Like, that's what I try to avoid. Like, I like to sometimes pull up on these channels, but that's what I try to avoid. I got sucked into that shit for a minute. So I'm staying the fuck away from that shit. But so they said the ABOs is over there talking about me. And of course they are, because they have to formulate new lies to compete with the same old truth. See? See, they see things like this.
Look, this is every bit that our family, right? This is every bit of property in Ocean Grove and Asbury Park that my family built. Every one of these things is
See, they see that and make them shaking their boots.
And we've got about 6 of those.
Oh, it's a beautiful shot. Who is that?
This is Emma. This would be Elizabeth's daughter, but that's Chief Carlos' mom.
Oh, she's beautiful.
This right here is part of the gateway, but in here it also chronicles. Look at all of this that our family built. All of this is what our family built. This is the church our family built. This is the church. This is the church. This is more property.
Yeah, I had to cut some of the audio out. She got a little real.
She married a Richardson. She came from Georgia. Both of her parents were dead, but this lady owned some stuff. Do you hear me? This got the whole history of every picture you see.
Down and you know who that. You know this woman. You know her family. You know who her daughter, her granddaughter is. I ain't gonna say it live, but you know who she is. She taught us in school.
Mm-hmm. Look at her.
That looks like her.
Come on, Chief.
Oh, I
look at her. That's the same woman.
Yeah.
All of these places, Chief. And it tells you in there when they show you all of those houses that every time they had a child, they built another house for that child. And this was the entire area. When I showed y'all Shark River, this is where the cemetery is right here. This goes up the road, Shaftel Corners. That's where the mall is. And that's where that Shark River is. Okay. And it tells you all of that in here.
Yeah, that's my family. That's our documented records. Tons of them. Tons of them. Stacks on stacks.
When they went overseas to France and was in the war fighting, doing the damn thing still. Now look, this is what I really want to talk about when we get.
We got the keys to this genealogy
got
shit.
Some pictures
I don't know what these niggas doing.
Somewhere of not only Long Bear's regalia.
They're a bunch of Cedric entertainers.
Obadiah, but they got James Reedy in here as well with his regalia.
Yeah, newspapers, printing presses, multiple family lines. My Richardson family had a newspaper. My Rock family had a newspaper. My Rock family covered the meeting with Marcus Garvey and the KKK and all them. My family covered that, and that shit's covered in our newspaper. This bigger than what these ABOs think. My family got a legacy. I'm just a part of it. I was just called to play whatever role I could play in it. Shit. Something different. It's bigger than this is who I am. I don't do this because I'm trying to monetize. I don't do none of that. It's just who I am. I'm supposed to fucking have this conversation. I'm the one that's supposed to have this conversation. Begin it at least, start it. You know what I mean? You see my family now, they in the conversation now. It ain't just me. And that's what these motherfuckers like. And it's a shame that they really be slandering us. Because we going through what we going through. And it would be dope if the people who say they care about indigenous people.
Are you sick of having issues with your webinars? Wasting tons
of time. They really stood with indigenous people. But they don't. They stand against the indigenous people. They stand against the full blood. They stand against the mixed ancestors. They stand against everybody except for the European. Somehow they've got this weird alliance with them. I don't know. I can't figure it out. So until the spell is lifted, I just continue to share this real shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how else to tell y'all. They can't bully me out this position. We the rocks they could not remove. That shit is real. The settlers couldn't do it. Colonists couldn't do it. State couldn't do it. Federal government couldn't do it. Local authorities been trying, couldn't do it. It just is what it is. It's bigger than all of that. So now what's happening is, like I said, other family members are stepping up, finding their place and bringing what they bring to it. And we growing. Yeah.
Shagby is the original name of New Jersey, and the territories that we come from is our tribal people. So this song is just paying a homage to that original name, just going back to our original selves and that journey. Medicine, the Akashic, I descend from the Sandhill Lenape people down in Monmouth County, New Jersey, and the surrounding areas.
You have something special. Your music is spiritual. Like I like to think of it as the voice of our people, it's our story. Like you are able to articulate our story. You know what I mean? So perfectly. So, what was some of the inspiration behind like the lyrics you write?
I've always done music, coming up since I was 8 years old. I've always done music, and I've always was taught the principles of talk about what you're living. So whatever I was living at the time of a teenager, I rapped about that. As I got older and progressed until coming back into this knowledge that, we are the Sandhill people, that we are Lenape, that we are American Indian people. I've been exploring that and journeying back home. So this is what I'm living right now, and this music is just a reflection of my life.
Yeah, Darren, they can't tie all the ends together. You know why? Because the transatlantic slave
Most people
trade
have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is
they threw the shoestrings out. They're trying to deny the actual strings that tie all this together. Took a while to understand why my people say we Indian, but when I look in the mirror, I don't see Indian. That's how we grew up. Not being able to yeah, I get it, but I don't get it. Okay, the best way to explain it is we Black Indians. But it's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. That shit got to do with, I'm telling you, you could tie it all together if you throw away all this self-shame and self-hate. Throw all that away. It's easy to tie all this together because it's not really hitting. It's just overlooked. But we got a group of people now throwing shit in that is like, I think they're more successful than the Moors ever were. When I say the Moors, I'm talking about the dirty Moors that was spreading misinformation. I think this group is, obviously you got TikTok, you got social media, so of course they're going to be more successful in spreading this misinformation. But listen, I do not doubt that all these people who are claiming Indian have Indian ancestry. I'm 100% with y'all, right? The disconnect is when we simply try to tell y'all Aboriginal is not a proper title. It's a classification. Like animals are Aboriginal. Plants are Aboriginal and indigenous. That's not a proper way to classify yourself. And that's what we were trying to express to these people. And lack of comprehension, they took it like we were saying, you're not Aboriginals, because to them, 1 and 1 is 2, which is true, right? But you can't apply that mathematics, that form, that equation to higher forms of mathematics. You can't fucking step into algebra class trying to use 1 + 1 = 2. And that's what y'all doing. Y'all trying to use the simple formula everywhere. Ooh, look at those Olmec heads. They look like Negroes. They must be Negroes. Now, all of a sudden, the ruling class of the Olmec are Negroes. And now we start getting this whole thing developed out of some lookalikes, some looks like shit. Oh, yeah, let me get back to that. I'll be all over the place. That Olmec platform called El Negro, right? It's called El Negro, right? It's an Olmec platform that looks like a black man, looks like a head. Black man laying on his fucking stomach. This nigga, pardon me, let me not say that. This man tried to say it was a sphinx. I'm about to pull that up. Tried to say it was a sphinx. Ain't no damn sphinx. Maybe it is a sphinx if he break down what the spiritual representation of the sphinx means, then we might be on something, because the sphinx is a form of anthropomorphication, right? I'll be wrestling with that word every time I say it. But yeah, so it's called El Negro, right? So somebody will open up the source and see that this Olmec carving is called El Negro. But what they don't know is that the people that discovered this, they called them peasants that were working in the field. And they were, I guess, digging, plowing. And they found it. And they dug it up. And they called it El Negro. Not the scientists, not the actual people who made it. The motherfuckers who found it. Honest, hardworking. I doubt they were qualified. And if you think they're descendants of the Olmecs, you have to know the Olmecs lived 3,000 years before these people. All right. So it's not like it was Olmec descendants digging up some Olmec shit and recognizing they shit. No, it's not what it was. They called these people peasants. So who knows who these people were? But they dug it up and they called it El Negro, which means they are of some type of Spanish ancestry or influence, because that's not an indigenous term, not to South America, not to Mexico. That's a European term, negro. All right. So you can open up the book and it'll say that shit and show that picture, but that's not what it is. That's just what they call it. Or you can actually get into the science of it and understand what that image is portraying, and then you'll get it. And I'm gonna go over that. I'm gonna do a build. I'm gonna do that build coming soon. But let me pull up some of this other one. Yes, the terminology gets you, because you take it as a given. So if they say they see Negroes in the Americas, you just thinking Negro, not understanding in the time how it was used. All these things, yeah, like the terms. As I say, people be arguing over terms and ignoring phenomena. Yeah, they called him Negro, but look at that man. You ain't got hair like that. Talking about, look at this person just because he's dark. Yeah, but you would never walk up on a Dravidian and be like, yeah, that's the same as, you know what I mean? They different people. They're just both dark. And yes, all Indian tribes, for the most part, were much darker back then. And just for people who don't understand things, in the Northeast, it'd be cold. So a lot of us tend to lose our complexion because of the cold. Like I was much darker when I was young, because I was out in the sun more. But as we get older and we're not out in the sun and we're not this and that, and the environment is more cold, you know what I'm saying? People tend to lose their complexion. My mom lost her complexion as she got older in life. We don't live at the most, like we're not close to the equator. Things happen, you know what I'm saying? Like that's natural. That's got nothing to do with any of this other bullshit people be fucking claiming. All that shit is pseudo. Let me see if I can find this thing again. Yeah, brother asked me about Unexpected Faces in Mesoamerica, that book. I'm like, yeah, that's all the pre-Columbian Olmec shit. Like I said, people will talk about it, but they don't go into it. And I'm like, how did none of these people ever really go into this shit? I'm you know, yeah. And so I said, let me just watch some of this shit and see if they actually ever talked about the artwork. And nah, they wasn't talking about the art. They was just talking about what things look like. And I was like, all right, so I see, because these people have influence over people's minds. So if they give you something halfway, because they influence, people are going to tend to believe them. So let's look at this shit. Come on now, sir. What's going on with your volume now, sir?
This year, but this pandemic, you know, who could have foreseen it? And the struggle for racial justice in the United States. So I would like to think that what we're doing is a part of that struggle. Now, I've been sheltering in place for 4 months now, and I never thought I would be in a situation like this, but I'm learning to use Zoom. It looks like it's the thing for a while, and this is my first serious Zoom presentation, so I'm a little bit nervous, but hopefully it'll go.
No need to be nervous, sir. So let me say something. How ironic is it that the ABOs blame pan-Africanism for teaching them wrong, but one of the fundamental claims that they make is based on a misteaching by Pan-Africans? How ironic is all that? You hear me? The ABOs and the whatever Indians claim that Pan-African has misled African Americans into thinking they're African, right? But one of the fundamental claims, right, that they make is backed up by an idea that they received from a Pan-African in regards to indigenous Americans, right? Pan-Africans claim the OLMECS were African. And African Americans will show you the Olmec heads as proof that they are the real indigenous people. Like I said, the irony, this shit is crazy. Shit is crazy.
It'll go well. The ancestors are in our corner. And mostly what I'm going to do for about 35 or 40 minutes is just show some photographs.
Yep.
So let me see if I can share the screen.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
That's mostly what I'm going to do.
Now, can you see this image right here?
I can see it.
Yes.
All right. This is Lucia.
Who?
And Lucia is important to us because she's recognized as the first person of the Americas, not the first Black person, not the first African, but the first person to inhabit the Western Hemisphere. And this is a reconstruction of a skull found in Brazil in the 1980s. In fact, this skull was in the Natural History Museum in Rio de Janeiro.
Now watch this. And yes, white people who classify people of color to control their narrative would call her a Negro. And they would call her a Negro so they could enslave her black ass. Check.
When they had the big fire a couple years ago, and apparently the skull survived. It's about 11,000, 13,000 or so years old. And I wanted to start with that. We're talking about the African presence in Latin America. And it's a 3-part series, so we're able to break it up and look at the African presence at the dawn of the Western Hemisphere, at the dawn of what we call today Latin America, particularly the role of African people in classical civilizations. And that is what...
So you have to understand, that's the position that they're taking, the African presence, right? So now they have to support that. That's what they're attempting to do. Support that there was an African presence, right? Other people took it the next level and said that they said all this other shit. They're saying an African presence. They're being real light about it. But all that shit, all these claims, and they came before Columbus. That book has been debunked. I have the link. I'll drop the link for that. A very popular link at this time. It's floating around the internet. A lot of people are showing and proving using that link. So shout out to all the people who already know about this link. I'll drop it later.
I'm going to try to talk about tonight. You can still see the images. They are clear. You can see the head.
Yes, got it.
All right. Now, the major thing we're going to look at tonight in our brief sojourn is the Olmec civilization. That's the big deal. The Olmec civilization is important to us because it's the first great civilization in the Western Hemisphere. We could even call it a parent civilization. Before the Inca, the Aztec, the Toltec, the Moche, any of them, you had a civilization called the Olmec, O-L-M-E-C.
All right, so let's get to that. He said the first civilization, the first. Now, how many people will you hear misquote and say Olmec were the first people, right? You'll hear that, but they say they're the first. Now, what does that ring bells to? Or what does that align with in terms of religious beliefs that Black people have? Well, Black people have an inherent belief that the original man was the Black man. And we got it from our Asiatic teachings. We got it from our 5% lessons. We got it from our Muslim lessons, right? The Black man, the original man is the Asiatic Black man. The Black man, the first man on all the planet, on all the continents was Black. We got these concepts from religious dogma pretty much, right? So remember, that's a trigger. That's a trigger word. When you hear the first, it triggers everyone to think of people of color, Black people. All right. So all this is what's going on with the OLMECS. All these trigger words being said, connecting things, and Black Americans have not required any more proof than to look at these heads. Now, what they're not taking into consideration, that a lot of these artifacts you're looking at, like, they're tiny. They're very small. They're also made of different types of stone, right? So some are easier to carve, some are harder. So the ones that are harder, they're not going to be able to do the features and the details too well. So some look more, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of things that go into this art, different level of craftsmanship based on different artists. It's a bunch of things that go into why these things look the way they look. It's not as clean cut as, look at that. No, these are not photographs. Now, if you want to talk about the Olmec mask, who look just like the people that you see running around now out there, because they're more indicative of what the people look like. See, that's a whole nother lecture, a whole nother conversation about the Olmec mask, right? Not this ritual art, because all this art is depicting a ritual. And let's see if he speaks about the ritual.
And that the hierarchy of the Olmec world was a group of African people. And that's what we're going to focus on. But even before the Olmec.
See, he is identifying the Olmec heads as being the heads of chiefs, which they are. And because they look African, he has now developed a whole theory that the hierarchy of the Olmec were Africans. And guess what? That feels good to African Americans who come from a displaced background. You know what I'm saying? That sound good to motherfuckers who need something to make them feel good about themselves. That sounds just as good as the black man is God. That sounds just as good as the first man on the planet was the black man. All that shit feel good. Oh, what? Now I'm seeing these Olmec heads and they look like Negroes. But what's a Negro? A Negro is a European classification that lumps a bunch of people from all over the place together based on their skin color. That's what a Negro is. It could be any motherfucker from any place on the planet if his fucking skin is a certain complexion. So, are you a Negro? Me, I'm a Richardson. I'm a Rock. I'm a Reevy. I'm a Bowles. We Sandhills. Yeah, they called us Negro. The fact that they called some of us Negro and some of us white caused problems in our families because they labeled us. And then we subjected ourselves to the psychology of the label. Now we running around in history books looking for ourselves in the history book under the title Negro. Skipping right over Sandhill. Oh, there go the Negro. But you skipped over yourself in the actual history book because you ain't in the history book as a Negro. That's just a term they use to snatch all that from you in one fell swoop. Whoop. And guess what? They didn't have the courage to call you a Negro to your face then. They probably still called you what you called yourself. They just wrote in the books, knowing that your dumbass ancestors would start looking up these books that wasn't even meant for them, but fuck it, they're going to get their hands on them anyway. And now y'all going to start identifying your ancestors how we identify them. Now you don't even know that you is just as racist as the people that fucking destroyed your culture. You hate yourself as much as them motherfuckers hate you because you have inherited their philosophies, their perspectives. That's why you use their maps. That's why you use their drawings. That's why you use their paintings. That's why you use their fucking writings to identify yourself. Now tell me I'm wrong. I know one thing, my people got our own newspapers. We built our own churches. We built our own infrastructures. Word is bound on everything. So you can't fucking steal that from me. You weird ass ABO niggas can't steal that. Y'all niggas should be ashamed of yourself. Word is bond. Your spirit is down bad. Damn. They a bunch of demons. Word is bond. Like how you do that? How you make the victim, right? How you make the motherfuckers who've been fighting for motherfuckers, right? That shit crazy. Well, you know, I stand on my shit. I stand on my shit in any form, fashion, however, and I'll give mine for this. And I know people who have given theirs for this. That's a reality. You niggas better be happy with them gold chains and shit. Fuck all that. You don't know what this responsibility is. Nah. Let's get back to this looks like. He said, I'm gonna spend about 30 just showing you some pictures. Just said it right out. I'm gonna spend about 30 minutes and show you some pictures.
You have artifacts like this. Now, this is about 1400 BC. 1400 years before the beginning of the Common Era, or Christian era, if you like. It's a very small piece. It's the head of an African. And it's from a place called Guerrero, Mexico. Guerrero is also, and we'll talk about this in the next session.
Now, that's 1400 BC. So we in 2000. So that's 3,400 years ago. How is he determining that's an African? And why would he place a modern jurisdiction, modern connotation, all the things that we attach with Africa as we know to something that occurred 3,000 years ago? Do you see how we're talking about taking things out of context, out of place, because this is Runoko Rashidi and he carries weight in his studies, which he's probably earned. Who knows? He might have degrees in African studies, but I know he don't have a degree that tells him this is an African. Why is he now saying isn't that? Why has none of the like that shit was on? Like he just went and seen the motherfucker. He didn't dig the bitch up. He just went and seen it. Why he not reading what they say the shit is? Because when I read and I do my investigations and I got my book talking, breaking all this stuff down, it don't say none of that shit. And the book I got, that shit was from the people who found the shit, from the people who dedicated their life to studying these people, not to the motherfuckers who had an agenda and seen some big ass heads and said, damn, they look like Negroes. Let's go down there and see what the fuck is going on. That's what I did. I seen some big ass Negro heads, and they've been telling us we Negroes for 400 years. And these heads been over here for how long? Oh, I got to go see this. I got to figure this out. I see that shit just like y'all saw it. And I went down there and I found out what the fuck happened. And I came back with the evidence and the proof. And you can see it for yourself. But if you just want to look at shit, if we just playing the match game, if we just on our 3-year-old shit, I can't help you. You're not tall enough to get on this ride. It's not even a elaborate test to see if you qualified. Like it's just a fucking height test. Like, nah, baby too young. Motherfucker ain't even tall enough. Slip out the seat. That's where we going. If y'all still playing the match game on the floor, got the cards laid out, you flipping them over, tomato, tomato, oh, good for you. Yeah. You not, this shit, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to serve you. You're going to slow us down.
Guerrero, the state of Guerrero, is named after a man of African heritage, Vicente Guerrero, who was the second president of Mexico and who abolished slavery in Mexico. So this is found in the state.
So this, I'm telling you, that's masterful. So he's referencing a head from 3,000 years ago, but he's talking about where it was found and that it was named after a motherfucker in modern times who is of Mexican and African mixed descent. But what the fuck? All that got to do is that when they found his head, wasn't no Guerrero. That place wasn't called Guerrero. Why are you conflating the times? And then this shit go into people's minds. And I'm telling you, like that shit is all that. Like you trying to convince motherfuckers. You just ain't giving them the facts. Let me talk about some shit that ain't got nothing to do with it because it sound good and it's true. Now, if I throw that truth that ain't really got nothing to do with this on this, now I'm speaking even more truth. Now you talking slick, yo. 5%, man. We picked that shit out. Like, nigga, that's why we say spit out the bones. That shit, you're gonna choke on that shit. That shit designed to choke you the fuck out.
State of Guerrero, and it's about 1400 BC. But what we want to do for the most part, it's critical, is, let me calm down. I'm a little pumped up to be on Zoom.
Pumped up, bro. Yeah. I feel you, bro.
What we're going to do for the most part is look at the Olmec. And if you want to see the largest collection of Olmec heads in the world,
let's go. I've been there.
In this museum right here, which is in Jalapa, Mexico, the Anthropology Museum.
Yep.
And these are the pieces that you see. This, for example, is one of the best of the Olmec heads. This one is called El Rey. El Rey means the king. And this is in that museum in Jalapa. You can see some foliage in the background.
This nigga talking about foliage. El Rey. Why don't you talk about who named it and why they named it El Rey and what cultural relevance it has to the people that named it? Because the motherfuckers that named this did not call this El Rey. It's not El Rey. Let's just keep it a buck so people can process this information correctly.
Because the Olmec civilization, unlike the Nile Valley civilization or the civilization of Mesopotamia or the Indus Valley civilization or the Yangtze River civilization in ancient China, this was not a civilization on the banks of rivers. This was inland, and there's a lot of foliage there. So this is a magnificent piece right here. And here it is again, all by itself.
The swamp.
This is about 20 tons. And this we think is about 3,200 BC. The heads that I'm showing you first are called the San Lorenzo heads. There are 20 of these massive Olmec heads, all with African features. Some extremely African, if there is such a thing.
20.
And they are from 4 different places. The first 10 are from a town called San Lorenzo.
Yep.
Possibly the first town or city in the Americas. The next 7 are from a place called La Venta.
Yep.
And then you have 2 from a place called Tres Zapotes and 1 from a plantation actually, called Cobata. This is another of the big San Lorenzo heads. And then you get to the smaller ones. Now these are actually in that museum. Now no 2 of these look alike.
Look at them.
They all have their own unique features, but each and every one of them is made of hard stone. This is solid stone. It's not hollow.
Yeah.
And it has what appears to be a kind of a headgear or helmet on the top.
Lip.
This one is interesting too. I could show you another photograph, and I will if I have time, where you can see the brown paint still there. So not only do the heads have the features of African people in terms of lips,
look at that, look like
cheekbones,
a cat. What are you talking about? Why are you not talking about that?
Apparently, at least some of them, if not all of them, were painted brown.
Yeah.
I have to say all these things because there are many people, probably even Facebook trolls, heaven forbid, listening to this session right now, who would argue that these Olmec heads are not African.
They're not.
And this has been a debate for more than 100 years.
Only with
well over that.
Only with
the first person to identify one of these heads was, in fact, a Mexican scholar named Jose Melgar. In the 1860s, he found one of these heads. I'll show it to you in a moment. And he referred to it as Ethiopian. And then from 1920 to 1922,
now I want you to notice how they do this. Very disingenuous. He found it in 1800. So that's at least 3,000 years, right? He found it and he named it the Ethiopian. This is before he did any research on what it was, see what I'm saying? As soon as he found it, he named it that because of what it looked like. So this whole looks like thing ain't like, don't feel bad because you fell for it too, but feel bad because you didn't look beneath what it looks like and look to the culture to tell you what it is. I don't know if you could see the bridge of that nose, but if that don't look like a cat nose emerging from a human face, I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's so much in it when you actually study the culture and don't just play the looks like game, right? Like, yeah, and I'm gonna give the whole complete build, and it go deeper into it go deeper than this, but this is a shamanistic expression of transformation, and the 2 times you transform in life is birth and death. You know, actually the whole journey is a transformation, but that's when you go through the doors, and that's what this is illustrating. These are the chiefs who just passed away.
Polish American scholar at Harvard University named Leo Wiener wrote a 3-volume book called Africa and the Discovery of America. Wiener didn't know who these heads represented. He thought they might be athletes or slaves. And other people have done good work, but the greatest work of them all, of course, is my brother, our ancestor, Ivan Van Sertima. This is one of my favorites.
Did you hear what he said? And think about that. Did that get past you? He said Wiener thought they were athletes or slaves. Black people think they're kings. It's the cultural perspective of how you see these things. So when Wiener saw him, he thought they couldn't have been no more than athletes or slaves because he's a white dude. And that's the cultural perspective he comes with. So that's why motherfuckers associated them with the ball game. Not saying the Olmecs didn't play the ball game, but why the heads were associated directly with the ball games, which why a lot of people say, oh, those Olmec heads look like they got on football helmets. And they do. Becomes associated. But look, this man, the white man didn't think these were kings. He didn't think these were leaders, philosophers. He thought they were athletes or slaves. That's a looks like test. See what I'm saying? That's not scientific. It's what motherfucker think. And that's what we've been going by this whole time when it comes to this Olmec conversation. What the initial people who saw that thought. The peasants that found the platform called it El Negro because of what it looked like. Everybody is calling these things because of what it looks like. So that's got to be what it is until you study the culture.
Good heads. Now, Ivan, I think in 1976 or 77, wrote the book that came before Columbus, The African Presence in Ancient America. And at the time, he was able to identify 12 or 14 of the heads. I've been able to identify 20 of them, and I suspect that there are more. And this is one of the ones that Ivan never got to see. This is also in Jalapa. It appears to be badly damaged. And it also is interesting because it has on the back of the head what appears to be tassels or feathers. I'm going to show you the famous one with the braids in the back in a moment. But all of them are unique. And these are the only 2, and I've seen all of them, that have anything on the back of the head. This is another relatively new one in terms of discovery. They're numbered. I think that this is San Lorenzo head number 8. And this is one of my favorites. This is another one weighing about 20 tons, perfectly preserved. And I have a personal history with this head. I took groups to Mexico from 2015, I think 2014 to I think 2018, I'm not sure. And the focus of every tour would be the Olmec heads. To me, they're a big deal. I get excited thinking about them, okay? In fact, what I would like to do, God willing, if the virus passes away, I'd like to co-sponsor a tour with the World Beat Center for next summer to Mexico. I knew you would like that, Empress. To see the Olmec heads of Mexico. I'm going to take you to see all 20 of them. Well, anyway, this was my first tour. And the woman who was organizing the tour, she was an African, but she wasn't very African-centered. And I had not been to this museum before. And I think she almost wanted me to flop or the museum to be closed, or for us to run out of time, or to have the wrong address or something. So I got off the bus before anybody else. I'm leading the tour, even though I've never been to this museum before.
African woman.
And I jump in there, go into the museum, and this is the first piece I see. And this head seemed to say, Brother Renoco, sit down and chill, my brother, and take a good look at me.
Well, that's what it said.
Anybody who argues that the Olmec were not African, or at least the Olmec heads were not African, show them to me.
Look at them droopy
Show
eyes.
them my face.
Look at them eyes.
And then no matter what evidence you produce,
no
matter nothing that you say,
look at them
if that doesn't convince them, nothing will. And so you can see I have a smug look of great satisfaction.
Mouth widens.
Another San Lorenzo head.
There you go,
and this is the last one. And this is the last Olmec head that I saw. This was number 20. And the reason it took me so long is
why
this
he
is
not
way
talking
out.
about
2 of the San Lorenzo heads are in the National Anthropology Museum in Mexico City. 7 of the heads are in the Anthropology Museum in Jalapa, Mexico. And this one is in the original location, way out in the town of San Lorenzo itself, which is a great distance. I had to get a car, a driver, pay a lot of money, but I got my man. I got my Olmec head. And there I am with it.
He went to Mexico to get
and another one of my famous plaid shirts like I'm wearing tonight. I founded an organization called the Plaid Shirt Society.
Did you wear that in Peru?
There you go. There it is.
Are you kidding? Yes. I put it on just for you. Okay. Now this one, these are out of sequence, but it's cool. This takes us to another phase of the Olmec world. And
that right there.
The third phase of the Olmec civilization. You have 3 phases of the Olmec civilization. One is San Lorenzo, which we've talked about. The other is La Venta, which we're going to get to in a moment. And the third is Trezopotes. Right, this comes from the Trezopotes head. And the people who dug this up,
that's not a Negro.
It's 12 feet long. It's made of basalt, a very hard stone. They refer to it as El Negro. These are the Mexican peasants who dug it up, not the scholars. You have to constantly say these things because so many people would deny the African role in the world before slavery days. It's my argument that the worst crime you can commit is to teach a child that their history began with slavery. So this is El Negro, and there I am with it. It's like an altar. It's kind of like a sphinx. Now back to La Venta. These are the La Venta heads. This is the head that was on the cover of Ivan Van Sertima's book that came before Columbus.
And this one skate off because there's so much more to talk about. You said it's an altar and it's a sphinx. Hold on, I can't just let it skate off. Just hold on a second, sir. And I know you can hear me, and this is all in good spirits, right? But I'd like to share something with you, sir. I stand on, yes, I agree that looks like a Negro head, but I stand on something that's a little bit, let's just say, I feel like I'm a little more informed when it comes to this. I'm just killing time right now. I'm about to upload a picture so I can show y'all something. All right. I'll make it simple. If you want to play the looks like game, how about we compare if these brother and sister look alike? If we're going to do that, let's at least compare the brother and sister. Okay. Let's at least compare one form of Olmec art to another form. If we're going to do the looks like, can we do that? Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Since they want to play the looks like game, and that's it, and they just talk about things look like, then okay, this is what we'll do. I'll indulge for a moment, and I'll play the looks like game. Now remember, what we're talking about is an Olmec tradition, and this tradition is about shamanistic transformation, right? And you're born into this world in 2 forms. Let me put that back. Pardon me. You're born into this world, not in 2 forms. You come into this world. When you're born, you come from the spiritual realm. In the spiritual realm, in Olmec culture, right? In this particular group of OLMECS, right? Because there's different OLMECS, but the ones that we are focusing on are the Jaguar cult of the Olmec, right? So in their cultural practice and expression, when you're born into the world, you come from the spiritual realm, and when you die, obviously you return to the spiritual realm. So the transformation occurs through birth and through death. Now in the spiritual realm, your spiritual self is represented by the jaguar or the panther, right? But the jaguar is your spiritual twin. So when you're born, you're coming from the jaguar into the human. And when you die, you turn from the human back into the jaguar. And this is what you're seeing with these Olmec heads. So they just showed you a very convincing image of Olmec art, a platform that looks like a Negro. Like, it's no way around it. Like, how the fuck is he going to explain this shit? Well, I'm going to show you that it is another example of the same transformation I'm talking about, right? Here we go. So we're going to look at one piece of Olmec art and compare it to the companion. See, they don't show you the companion. They just show you the one piece. So here we go. So, as you can see on the left is the platform they were talking about. And you see on the right, this is the end of the transformation. Now, if you look at the hairline, right, the hair, and you look at the top of the cat, you'll see it's all the same design. See that? That is what that actually is an effigy of a child being born, coming from the spiritual realm into the human. So it really should be from left to right, I guess. It should be the cat first, transforming into the human, and this is the transformation mid-stage. That's why the body is depicted as being limp. You will see a lot of the Olmec artwork depicting the children as being limp and lifeless because they're coming out of the spiritual world. They're transforming. Now, if you look at both pieces, you'll see, like, it's right there. Not only are they in the same position, but you can see some of the same structures, some of the same designs and curvatures, right, that would show the morphing. Look at the prominent cheekbones and the side and the top part of the mouth. You understand? All that is, you know what I mean? That's what you're looking at. You're looking at Michael Jackson Thriller, looking at somebody transforming into a werecat. It's not what you're thinking. They describe it. The nose, the nostrils flare, the nose, the mouth broadens. You know what I'm saying? All this, they're talking about the transformation because in their spiritual work, in their spirit, in their religion, they are a jaguar cult. So you're born a jaguar. You come from the jaguar realm. Yeah, the Sphinx is probably the same concept. Body of a lion, the face of a man. You're dealing with, it's a cult. There you go. See, you're going to find this shit all over the world. And it's going to reflect the specific animal that's in their territory. This is called anthropomorphism. If you understand anthropomorphism, you'll understand indigenous culture way better than the looks like. Now, my question is, why didn't these people share this information? Did they just not know? I believe in their zeal to uplift Black America, they overlooked any real investigation because they had a premise. And the premise they were going down there with are Africans had an influence on Mesoamerican culture. So anything that looked African, they was snatching. And that's what they taught Black Americans. So anything that they think is them or looks like them or has anything to do with them, Black Americans are taking. So when they see Mayan paintings and these people are brown skinned, they all of a sudden think they're the only brown skinned people in the world. And damn sure the Mayans must be us. Look at these brown ass motherfuckers. Then they look at today's Mayans and they go, y'all ain't the same people. Yeah, because them people were colonized and they fucking intermixed with this fucking Spanish. God damn. So what we doing now? We ignoring a whole group of people because they fucking had a Holocaust? What the fuck is going on? Yeah, shit crazy. Somebody got to share this shit because y'all niggas is running amok and they can ignore this all they want. But they see it and it shake the ground beneath their feet. They playing around, they playing games. I don't talk about that. I don't like that ain't my thing. It ain't for me to say. I wasn't there. I respect world history. I don't even want to get into that. That's somebody else's. You know what I mean? Listen, that's another conversation, sir. It's not the build. We all know this. This ain't no new degree. That ain't no new degree. We know everything about these people, who they are, what they've done. Trust me. I ain't no new jack to none of this shit. But right now, I'm dealing with what's going on in my cipher amongst my people. Man, we aware of everything. We do the knowledge, bro. 360. I see it all. I'm out here with my people. I live in a Palestinian neighborhood. I'm out here every week with them, standing with them, marching with them. You know what I'm saying? Boots really on the ground. So yeah, I'm fully aware of all of this. I participate. But back to the cat cult. That's why this whole Cat Williams shit is so fitting. It's so fitting. Cat Williams and Jaguar Wright are bringing truth to the light. Now, what they doing is just a microcosm of the macrocosm or a macrocosm of the microcosm, meaning it's happening on bigger levels than just comedy, and it's happening on smaller levels than comedy. People stealing people's material and then slandering people so they don't have to face the judgment. You understand? That's why it's people over on other channels now talking crazy about Turtle, and all Turtle do is bring the truth to the light. They dirty. It is what it is. But I appreciate you, Sir Joshua. Don't get me wrong. I just that's a whole nother bag. But I do got a nice little documentary if you want to. Did my thoughts on the whole Kanye, Kyrie, when all that popped off. Nice little piece. You need to go check that out. Tell me what you think of that. All right. Yeah, I'm not big on Charleston Wright. Say some good things, but I think he's more toxic than anything. And shit. But he do say some on point shit. I don't disagree with everything he say, but he's just too toxic. I don't think we need that no more.
This one is estimated to weigh 40 tons. Okay. So there are 4 LaVenta heads that have now been moved to an outdoors park in a place called Villahermosa in the state of Tabasco. Here they are. Here's another one. Some are better preserved, are better carved than others. I think this one is called the Young Warrior or the Young Prince. This is another of the good LaVenta heads. And here's another one.
Well, let me go back on that because I think this maybe will help you even see it even more. Let's
place called Villahermosa in the state of Tabasco. Here they are. Here's another one. Some are better preserved, are better carved than others. I think this one is called the Young Warrior or the Young Prince. This is another of the good.
You see this one? See how the nose is melted away? Looks like it, yeah, because it's showing you a point in the transformation. I could never figure this out. I'm like, why? I'm standing there looking at it because this one's really down at the park. So I'm standing there looking at it, and I'm like, why does it look like his face is melting? Doesn't look like his face is melting. Then I was like, maybe he just was a horrible, like he wasn't good. But what they overlook and what he doesn't tell you is to look at the insignia on the helmet. Then go look at the one where he says, this is my favorite. Then look at the insignia on the helmet. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'm starting to put it together, I think. 1 plus, a little tricky now, 4. Yeah. Okay, let me, so if it was 1, and then the 1, and then another 1. No, just 1 plus 4. Let's just try it that way. Oh, yeah, okay. 1 plus 1. That's another 1. That's another 1. That's another 1. I think the answer is 6. That's what the fuck is going on. Niggas.
Good La Venta heads. And here's another one in the Anthropology Museum in La Venta. Now, there are 3 other heads that I'm the only person, for the most part, that acknowledges. These are the 3 battered La Venta heads. La Venta is in Mexico, obviously. And in the 1950s, even after the Olmec heads were detected, they found oil there. I think the company is Pemex. So they moved the 4 best heads to Villahermosa. I just showed you those. And 3 heads were left behind in La Venta itself. And I don't know if they were damaged or they were never finished, but you can see the shape. So there are 3 of these, you can see. And then finally, we get to the Tresapotes heads. Now, this was the first head that was detected in, I think, 1866 or 1877. Again, the scholar who dug them up is named Jose Melgar. His work has never been translated into English. It's still in Spanish. And he referred to the features as Ethiopian. And this is the second Tresapotes head. In some ways, these are the most impressive. And this is the one with the braids in the back. Okay. And this is the last head, perhaps the least African looking of them all, maybe the youngest. He appears to have the eyes closed or he's squinting. And this is at a place called Cobata. This is the Cobata head. And this one is estimated to weigh 100,000 pounds. It's in the Zocalo, the city square in Santiago, Tuxtla, Mexico. Let me show you a few other pieces from the Olmec world. This one looks just like Lawrence Fishburne. He could have posed for that. Matrix. Here's what is called an Olmec goddess or an Olmec queen. There are very few images of women in the Olmec world. This one, a lot of these pieces, most of them, in fact, are from my visits to the museums around the world. This is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. This one is in Princeton.
Looking like a lion.
This one is actually in La Venta Park in Mexico. And this is called the Watcher.
You got this one right.
And it appears to be a man looking up at the sky, obviously looking up at the sky.
Yes, stars.
And so scientists have deduced from this that the Olmec also had a knowledge of astronomy. This is called the Watcher.
Yes, I agree.
An Olmec tomb. And you can see how the lords or nobles or kings of the Olmec were buried with these massive basalt slabs.
Yes.
Other artifacts from the Olmec
world. Do you see that? Look how now he's gonna skate through them, right? See that right there? That's the key. That's the key. Watch him skate.
This is in Brussels, Belgium.
Now he's skating through all the key shit. That's a
back
prayer
in
position.
Mexico. This one I found in the
skating through shit. This
National Museum of Santiago, Chile a few months ago. And this is Olmec. Look at the lips on these pieces.
He's skating. Now look what he's gonna say.
When I was growing up, I used to watch, this may be a terrible thing to say. When I was growing up, I would see this television show called The Addams Family. Yeah. And there was a character in there named Lurch. And that's what this piece reminds me of. Yeah, I don't mean any harm.
That does look like Lurch.
See, now the OLMECS are Lurch. I'll tell you. Watch.
I think I lost you for just a moment.
Watch this. Tell you now.
We still got you.
Oh, you can still see me.
Yeah, I see you, and I can still see Lurch.
Lurch. You wanna know who Lurch is? Hold on, let me stun for a minute. Let me stun on niggas for a minute. What they call Lurch is called the standing figure. The standing figure is distinguished by a great delicacy in the overall form, the extreme slimness of the limbs, the elongation of the arms, the contours and surface of the body is subtly modulated and undulates slightly from the high, narrow shoulders and chest to the gentle swell of the abdomen, where the highly polished surface is interrupted only by the incised penis sheath. The carving of the jade is extremely refined. Only the inside surfaces of the arms are left unpolished, which demonstrates the use of slab sawing to create the form. The ears seem prominent against the smooth, contained oval shape of the head, and the eyes give the subject a slightly pinched expression. The figure in the collection of the American Museum of Natural History is similar to the exaggerated thinness. All right, so let me see if it goes. So some of these are just what they are, right? But it talks about the style that it's in. So it's a whole write-up on all these things that breaks down exactly what you're looking at and what they're representing. All right, so this is the standing figure. And we can go through them all. And all these images he's showing you, there's complete documentation, right? Because you got to understand, the only reason we know about the Olmec is because of the art that they left behind. We don't got any documents, none of that shit. All they left behind was artwork. What you call the colossal heads are sculptures, are art, right? Art has a meaning. It's not just done like we taking photographs. Let me just take a picture of this motherfucker. It's not what it is. It represents aspects of culture. And until you understand the Olmec culture, you're not going to understand the things you're looking at.
Are you able to see this piece? This and these pieces.
No, it's not moving.
All right, let me just.
Okay.
How about now?
No.
Yes?
Oh, there you go. Hey.
All right.
Now look.
Listen, I never seen this piece.
Yeah, you never seen that piece.
It's a beautiful piece of art.
Now it's a beautiful piece of art.
Now this is in wasn't a museum in Barcelona.
I gotta pause this. Why y'all skip over the carvings that start to look more like the people and call it a beautiful piece of art? Now it's art. Before that, it was an ID card. Now it's art. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. What type of checks you trying to cash, bro? One's an ID, the other's art. Sounds subjective to me.
And I saw it on my first trip to that part of Spain. I came back many years later, and nobody could tell me whatever happened to it.
Indeed, yeah. We
Can you see the pyramid?
My grandmother came from the stars.
This is the first pyramid in the Americas.
Now watch. He about
massive,
slick with it.
Grass-covered pyramid.
Pyramid.
It's only about 100 feet high.
I am, bro.
But it's the first pyramid in the Americas, and apparently this was built
bro,
by the Olmec. And then you have these images
turtle gang
of black skin warriors in Mexico. Now, if you look closely, you can see that the hands are light colored or white.
Yeah, see how he look.
I'm not sure if those are gloves or there's
now you're not sure.
There. Sometimes blackness is ethnic, and sometimes
hold up. Now he's not sure, but earlier he made a claim that a artifact from 3,000 years ago was an African man. Now he's not sure if those are gloves. No, what you're looking at is this is all ceremony. They paint themselves that way. It's ceremony. The color of his hands is his actual color. This is ceremony. And if you knew anything about the culture, you'd understand what type of ceremony they indulging in. But y'all don't get it. And y'all just looking at pictures like it's motherfucking cartoon, a comic book or some shit. You got to at least read the comic book, don't y'all? Didn't y'all read the comic book and you just looked at the pictures? Why is nobody reading the fucking comic book? Why y'all just looking at the pictures? You free now. You could read. You could do more than just look at the signs. You could actually read it. Stop signs got a word on there too, but it's a shape and everything and a color for those who fucking can't read. You can read now.
Sometimes it is symbolic. If it's symbolic, what would blackness symbolize in the ancient world of Mesoamerica?
You want to know?
According to the museum captions,
the
color black represented wisdom in the underworld.
Okay.
But they don't say that these are black people. What they
see, he says, according to, wisdom in the underworld. That's why the panther or the black cat is sacred. It's a black cat. It's dark. It can see in the dark. Bring the truth to light. Everything in the dark gonna come to the light. And Cat Williams and Jaguar Wright gonna bring that truth to the light. And that's just the microcosm, the macrocosm, or it could be the macrocosm of the microcosm, meaning that shit is resonating on higher levels and it's resonating on lower levels all around you. The same shit that man talking about is going on all around you and levels above you and levels below you and the level you in. Everybody out here slandering, stealing, and misrepresenting the real people.
They tend to say in the museums is that they covered themselves with petroleum.
See that? See
now
that?
These are
look, I keep stopping this, and I shouldn't have to. He just sat there and told you what the shit say. But no, we got to rethink it. Nope. Damn. And remember this. African Americans do not have a monopoly on melanin. Every melanated person you see on a wall somewhere ain't your grandmother. And you just can't claim her shit. And Mr. Umar Johnson, Kobe Bryant's wife, does not have to give a bunch of money to black people. All she has to do is give that money to Kobe's kids. That's who's entitled to that shit, not a bunch of black people. What are we talking about? And who supports that? If you support Kobe Bryant's kids receiving Kobe Bryant's money, what they say, put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat. What are we talking about? Stop trying to steal people's inheritance.
And this is from the base of a temple in Mexico, about 1,500 years old. And you can see a series of black men. The one in the front has a broadsword, but they are identified as captives, but they are not bound. And if you look back here, you see two lighter skinned figures with what even looks like a kind of an arm.
So he said they're identified as captives, which means he's read, he knows something about it. So why he just don't read the shit to you what the fuck is talking about? Why he read it and then tell you what he think he just read? Because he has an agenda. And I'm not saying this to disparage the man. I'm telling you people of color was trying to raise their consciousness, raise their self-esteem, and this is the lengths that people went to at a period in time. But now it's time for us to be responsible and understand, okay, you know what? You're right. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel good that I know about this culture. And guess what? We all are part of it because you still live it. You still deal with anthropomorphism. You still deal with a lot of the principles that they laid. Like, right? Our towns and cities are still damn near built in the same. Like right downtown Brooklyn is fucking the damn arena. Barclays Arena is a giant mound. It's the center of commerce. It's the center of the gatherings in Brooklyn. It's the same layout as, you know what I'm saying? It's a plaza. Main streets run to it. It's the same layout as any ancient city. We still doing these things.
Here's a detail and yet another. And so my point is, even if people were to dispute the African roots of the Olmec, there are many other images of the African in ancient Latin America as well. So let me just go through the rest of these quickly. This is one of my favorite pieces right here.
Quickly.
A beautiful terracotta. I mean, I love it. It's small enough to fit in your hand, and there's no caption with it. It's just hanging up in a glass case in a museum. Now, I want to spend a little time talking about the Maya, and this takes us to that phase. Now, what this shows...
All right. So he's done with the Olmec. This place would be like how Bahrain and all those places are. Advanced technology be advanced, the architecture be fucking nothing could compare with what was going on here. So if this shit was never interrupted and all of North and South America ended up looking like Mexico with all that great architecture and all that art, man. But real quick, hold up. So this is what I'm talking about. All right. Let me see something. See this? All right here. This is what I'm talking about. All right. All you got to do is get that. Get that. And that'll break down all the shit these people is trying to push on you. All that information they trying to misrepresent, all that shit in here. See, this is what they don't show you. See these faces? That's what the Olmec people look like. See that? These are Olmec masks. You see that? That's indicative of what the people really look like. You see that? Hold on. See that? See that? That's what them people look like. You go down there and they still look like that. So what are we talking about? Now, what the man don't talk to you about is, let me pull it up. I could do this all day. Look at this stuff. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Them people still there. So let me get to something so I could. Now look, you see that, right? Right? You seen that, right? Woo! That's got to be a Negro. But you see, there's some. What's that? It's a whole write-up on it. Want to read it now? Want to read it now? Yugito with car face and incisions. Want me to read it now? No, you know what? Let's let that simmer. Let's leave them that. And then when they jump on that, because we just took the Olmec heads from them, they're going to jump to that, right? And then we'll snatch it from them. Because, you know, they just go from one thing to another. It's like video games for them. They just get another life. See that? Let me show you. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that face. What are they telling you? What do you think that represents? What is going on with that man's face? There you go. Yeah. Life is a transformation. All this stuff is transformation. This is all about transformation. Right? It's all about transformation. Look, we're talking about the stars. Yeah, we know. Ancestors knew. That's why they made art depicting it. This is the science. This is the history. That's why you got to understand art for what it really is. It's not a Polaroid. It's conveying a message. People want to argue over, is that a Negro? Is that, no, that's a little boy staring at the stars. You know why? Because we didn't have TV back then. We didn't have the internet. We had all this stuff to distract us. And the only actual stars in our life were the ones in the sky. And everybody around the world was looking at the same sky, just like we would look at the same shows all over the world. We was looking at the same stars. That's why we all had the same patterns in our symbolism. Not because anybody went around the world and taught the next person about it. Ain't no Egyptian come teach the Mayans. None of that shit. Ain't no Aboriginal American go teach no Africans. No, they all looked at the stars because guess what? We was in tune with nature. Motherfuckers talking about how did the Dogons figure that shit out? Because they didn't have fucking Fox 5 News. Because they didn't have all these other things to distract them. Olmec Dragon. We're going to get to that too. Few things. That's one of the most rarest fishes on the planet. Why am I? What is it? Yeah, that right there. One of the most rare fish on the planet. Whew. Understand? So let me see if I can just get to this before I get up out of here. All right. Can you see what this is? All right. So that is crouching figure of a man jaguar. Right? Show you another. I'll show you the process. So here you go. It's the shamanistic pose. This is the pose, right? Now, if you know about making salat and prayer and all that, you recognize that pose. That's the shamanistic pose to initiate transformation, right? This is the completion of the transformation. You are now the werecat. That's Michael Jackson Thriller. Get away. You know what I mean? I'm not like other guys. That's that. So that's a ritual, right? Now, the process to go from that to that is what you see when you see certain Olmec heads, which is why they look Negro. You should feel privileged to know these things. Not saying that you learned it from me or anybody, but this is some real, beautiful, foundational shit. So, like, here's more. Yep, cocoon to the butterfly. Yeah, Mingo Jack is my fourth great grandfather. Peace to Eatontown. You see that? That's another one. If you go watch The Wiz with Michael Jackson, when they run up on the library, who's encased in the concrete in the prayer position? The lion. And he breaks out, and now they're going to look for his heart, right? The lion looking for his heart. We that lion on the yellow brick road searching for courage. That's us. See, this is what you saw in The Wiz. This is why I say, did Michael know? Did Michael know this stuff? He kept showing it to you in his art. Or is this message so powerful it resonates on its own? You know what I'm talking about? You had a tale of two wolves. Which wolf you feed? You got to feed them both. Really? Yeah, the tale of two wolves. Which wolf you gonna feed? So this right here, very important, right? It's transformation figure, right? Look at the Black Panther. So let's read this. This impressive head of a were-jaguar is in the same stage of transformation as those of the standing were-jaguars in the collection of Dumbarton Oaks and Cat. All right. The features of the face are poised midpoint in the transformation from human to jaguar, round and drawn to the points at the outside corners. The deeply excavated eyes probably held inlays of dark reflective material such as pyrite. The human nose has broadened and the nostrils are slightly flared. The wide open mouth with indications of sharp fangs takes on the aspect of a growl. Now, when you look at the Olmec heads, you see the mouths are turned down. It's a growl. We're talking about a growl. Look at the mouth turned down. Damn, did I just take all they shit from them? Taking all they little dumbass planes. Why is this shit not? See, okay, this one. You see the frown? See the frown? See the frown? See the frown? I know you see the frown now. Yeah, shapeshifters. That's right. Shapeshifters. Yep. And this is prominent in all indigenous American cultures because this is the foundation. So if you have lost your culture, yo, come fuck with the Olmec culture. You don't got to steal their identity, but you can start from here. And this is a beautiful foundation to understand all the cultures as they spread out throughout the Americas. Because this is a civilization. What does that mean? It means when principles were being accepted by wide groups. And that's what starts to make a people grow, be able to work together. See? Trying to tell you some things. Fish is important. Fish come before turtle. That's why a whale is a mammal. They came out the water, said fuck that, and went back in. It's important to understand. That's why art is important, and y'all messing it up. Y'all messing it up because you take the power of art and expression too lightly. You put it in the hands of the wrong people. That shit is more important than all these other mediums. Where's the shit? I'm gonna read this. Yeah, I had some. Yeah, you can join the live. Hold on. I just dropped the link. All right, so I'll show you another picture. This is very sexualized, very, you know what I mean? But really what it is, it's man and his twin. That's the spirit. The jaguar is the twin. That's his spirit. The spirit god, your totem. That's their totem of the jaguar cult. Here's another image. Here's another piece of art where you can see the, right? This is what you're looking at when you look at Olmec art. You're looking at an expression of their culture. They're not just taking photographs. So if you really want to be in tune and have an understanding, look, this is why I said that Mike will know. Here you go. There go the Thriller album. That's the Thriller pose for the, you know what I'm saying? He even had a tiger with him on the album cover. I'm like, that man keep attaching himself to this information. Yeah. Yeah, bro. Go ahead and make that PowerPoint. Do what you need to do, bro. I'm just sharing a little something on the fly, bro. I'm just sharing a little something. Like this stuff I've been sitting on for years. Just I ain't feel like people was ready to receive it. So all it did was edify me the more I got to sit with it. Nah, I can't say I heard of that. I dropped the link if you want to come up. Shamanism, ancient but living worldwide religious tradition. Shamanism is based on the belief that spirits of ancestors and the controlling forces of nature, world, or gods can be contacted by religious specialists in altered states of consciousness. So yeah, all that stuff that it's the same. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know there's many stories of Noah. Like a lot of different people got their different flood myths. So here's something else that you'll see people talk about, right? They'll throw this around because it looks like crow. You see that? You see, they'll say that's the Confederate flag, and that's really a indigenous thing, and da-da-da. They'll say all that shit, right? Now, what is it? It's the frontal view of the Olmec dragon. So what you're looking at in that X, based on this, it looks like that's the mouth. And the two eyes and all that. It's not no damn Confederate flag. So whoever found that little artifact and repainted it to make it look like a Confederate flag, that was it was playing games with y'all. And y'all fell for it. Here's another image when I was talking about birth. Collectivism, okay. So remember I was talking about birth, right? The child and the jaguar. See the child riding the jaguar coming, you know what I mean? See what I'm saying? This is all the artwork that they don't show you, that for you to understand. Yeah, I know the swastika. Yeah, I know all that. It's a symbol of nature and continuity. It's the four corners. It's all that. Four, you know what I mean? It's the four directions. Yeah, it's an ancient symbol. I'm not, you know what I mean? Yeah. All right, so check this out. The Olmec art style is the material expression of the concerns and beliefs of a local society interpreted through the mandates of its political leaders. The artist's individual predilection and the Olmec ideological system. The definition includes not only the appearance of the art object, but also the acquisition of materials, selection, and sources of the subject, format, and theme. The processes of manufacture and the uses and functions of the object in ritual and in the society. So all of that is what goes into this Olmec art. That is much more than just a Polaroid. If that's what you get out of looking at this Olmec art, you get a Polaroid, and that's exactly, and that's all you get. You definitely need to go down the hall. I think they got an 8-hour gym class. They're playing kickball all day. You can kick that ball all over the fucking gym. They might even take you outside if your leg's that strong, and you can go kick the ball over the fucking mountain. What is that? You just better throw a football over the mountain. You could throw the football over the mountain. When I was talking about the children was born and they are limp. See, that's another depiction. See, very lifeless because they're just coming into the this realm from the other realm. So yeah, it's a whole lot of pictures in this book. Whole lot of pictures. Look, nice thick book, big book. Whole lot of pictures in this book. But it's more words than pictures. It's way more words than pictures. And you could look at the pictures and probably get it. Or you could read this motherfucker and really get it. Now, the individual, now this is the irony about this book. I want you see, look at this. You see it's got, all right, it's got handwritten notes all in the book. It's got paperwork attached to it. This is the beauty of this book and the beauty of my journey. I went to Mexico in 2000. Let me take this down. I went to Mexico in 2009. Oh, well, that's good for you. You got another opportunity to be here. But I went to Mexico 2009. When I went down there, visited all the Olmec locations, the museum, you know what I mean, everywhere. Filmed everything. Yeah, bro, we met. We'll definitely meet, you know what I mean? It's definitely a forward march from here. But so when I was down there, I collected a lot of information. And I just been sitting on it since 2009. I actually put a documentary back about 2016 and my fucking computer crashed. And that was probably the best thing I did, because if I'd have put that out, that shit would pale in comparison to what we're going to put out now. Using that footage that still I haven't used. You see what I'm saying? Or like everything. I'm everywhere. I'm in the places, speaking with the people. So we just shot a film called Mountain Lion. Yeah, it was a blessing. Absolutely. We just shot a film called Mountain Lion just shot it with a up and coming director. It's probably going to be one of the next greats. You know what I mean? He got the lineage. So we shot a film called Mountain Lion, and it's based on Amazonian jaguar medicine. Now, he spent time in the jungles, I guess, of Peru, and spent time with a tribe out there, and they are they want to dig a well for them. Some type of problem with the water, I'm not sure. So the idea is to build a well. So while he was down there and they were going through the process of, speaking with the people, getting to know the people, and introducing the idea of them trying to help them, just a little bit of technology. And while he was down there, he was introduced to different herbal medicines and just a different way of life, and he got to live it firsthand. And he's down there for a few months or whatever, and he saw the quality and condition of his life change just in that period of time he was down there. So, he's a filmmaker, writer, artist, going through some personal things, and he crafted this. Resident. Yeah, my aunt was in a resident. I have family that was in residential schools. Some of them got sent back because it was too dark. Yeah, we got all that. We've been through that. Yeah. There's a whole nother side to this story, bro. I don't know if you're aware, but we can definitely have these conversations, man. So what was I talking about? Damn. Lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the movie. So he wrote this movie called Mountain Lion. Reason, it's called Mountain Lion because it takes place up here in Jersey. And now you good, I'm back now. It takes place up here in Jersey. And the equivalent of the jaguar up here would be the mountain lion. So shot the film, and in the process of shooting the film, you know, I mean, we was upstate, we was in Nyack, New York shooting. So I live in Brooklyn. It's about a little more than an hour away. So I stayed in Nyack while we shot. And where I stayed, my accommodations was with this very old, like wealthy woman, like 80, 90 years old. Big old mansion. Big, but it was old. So we're talking about the film, and I'm starting to notice some aspects of the film that are kind of lining up with some Olmec traditions. So I start to speak on it, and the director, he says, "Hold on a minute." He goes upstairs and he comes down with this book and hands me this book, and I'm like, "Oh shit, what the heck?" You know what I mean? And I'd never seen this book, so I start going through it. And boom, I look up the chapters and I jump right on the stuff that I know. As soon as I start reading this stuff, it starts to verify everything that I had figured out over these years. So I'm like, oh shit, where you get this book? He's like, the owner of the house, her husband, who has passed away, right? He was one of the men that was with these people when they discovered all this shit. And he's responsible for smuggling out all of the artifacts in this book. He was personally responsible for smuggling them out before the other people got to him, like the vandals and just like whoever. You know what I mean? So some might say he was doing a bad thing. Some might say he was doing a good thing. Either way, all the pieces that he got out were returned back to the people, and they distributed them to the museums that they're in now. So I'm sitting here, and he's the one who wrote the book. So somehow this book not only found its way into my hands, but I'm sitting in the house of the man who put the book together and was responsible for recovering all of these artifacts. Now, if that ain't some supernatural shit, I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm sitting in this man's house, and this man's soul, because the man passed away. He'd be 100-something by now. You know what I'm saying? And they're very they're very supportive of indigenous cultures. You know what I mean? Yeah, good people, but yeah, it's way more to this. And bro, I just be thankful for whatever I receive and try to share it with people, and never try to pretend like I'm like, I know all these things. These things be revealed and be shown, and I be led in it. You know what I mean? And that be that. And I keep it moving. But yeah, it's all here. And this will free you from everything. This will free you from all religious dogma. If I tell you anthropomorphism will free you from all that shit, trust me, it will free you from all religion, and it'll help you identify when they was trying to put that on you and where they put it on you. Animism. We dealt with animism. Yep. So yeah, go check out Apocalypto. They're gonna be showing you this shit throughout the whole film. All right. He's gonna be staring the jaguar, he's gonna be staring that black. Yeah, religion and segregation. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, that's where it starts. That was the first form of segregation. Yep, before color, it was religion. You 100% right. Yep. And that shit was present in even some of our communities, right? Religion. Yeah, Apocalypto was horrible. And they were showing you the concept of the twins. They were showing you all that. They were showing you the rituals, the warrior rituals. He was covered in all black, covered in the mud. They showing you all that right then and there. And then when you look on the Mayan and you see these people colored in these certain colors, man, you gotta understand what that shit means. You gotta understand what all that means. What are you looking at? Who are these people? What's the situation? What's the context? Stop just looking at what you see and trying to determine, you know what I mean, a specific idea that you've already dedicated your spirit to. Let that shit go. Let that shit go. Creator gonna give you what you need, but you're gonna have to put some of that shit you got in your hands down. He's not gonna give you more hands. So some of that shit you holding on, you got to put down. Absolutely. Understood his fate, but made his way back to his family. Yup. That's the journey of the hero. Everybody gotta have to go through that journey. And blaming somebody for you having to go through that journey is not gonna fucking get you through that journey. Ain't nobody gonna pull up and say, oh yeah, that's what happened. Come on, I'll give you a ride to your destination. Nope. You gotta fight for your shit, and you're gonna have to fight through other motherfuckers that's fighting for their shit. The best thing we can do though is give a clean fight. We got enough against us. We don't need to be slandering each other and dirtying each other up, man. Everybody got their own little issues, and I have empathy and compassion for all of y'all until you start putting your shit on me. I don't gotta carry your weight, but I don't have to make your fucking load any heavier. Feel me? Yup. At the end of the day, we all surviving. We try and get to the same place. It would behoove us to work together. I'll tell you that. We both could probably carry. You got 100 pounds in your hand. I got 100 pounds in my hand. If we put this 200 pounds on something and carry it together, we could carry this much easier and more comfortable. We both gonna benefit from this shit. Ah, damn. Yeah. So once niggas figure that out, we could do some things. Because it's real, it's right there. It don't take much. Like, we sat here and watched a whole community rise from the ashes of inequality, and now they damn near run the world. It's no longer in the closet. My lifetime, I watched them gain political power through organization. Then I watched another group pop up, BLM, gain political power through organization. So now we see different nations reorganizing themselves, people stepping up and professing who they are, trying to find some type of organization. And when they see that shit, oh no, they shaking their boots because they know organization is the key. Don't matter what you organized as, organization is the key. So now they see people starting to have conversations and reorganize and starting to deal with things. And now they want to start adding some shit to the conversations. That's why people on here with names that are like from the rip, like it's not inducive to any type of growth. I named my company Turtle Gang Edutainment. Edutainment. Why you name it Turtle Gang? Well, I was thinking of our gang, like the Little Rascals. A bunch of kids that was left out. And they all came together. And I wanted to provide a platform for all the kids that got left out. Even if you fucking 60 now, you one of the kids that got left out. I'm one of the kids that got left out. When they removed, my family didn't go because we was mixed. So we got something for all the people that was left out. And we organized. That's all we do is just organize so we all can learn and grow and heal. Everybody need healing. Everybody wants somebody to fucking listen to what the fuck they got to say. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm one of them people that as long as I can just say it, I don't care who's listening. But some people need people to hear them. I can make art. I can make my art, put my shit out in my art and let that shit fly. 200,000 people receive it, cool. 40 people receive it, cool. I put it out there. I did my job. I don't need nothing else. I don't need the accolades. I don't need none of that. I get that shit in other ways. Well, we getting our house, we getting our apartment redone, right? They about to tear every wall, all ceilings out. That's just happening Monday. So I'm packing the apartment up, getting ready for this fresh start. Once we get this fresh start, we set my studio up. And yeah, generations. That's right. 7 generation principle. We do what we do for 7 generations in the future. I'm the seventh generation grandson of Abraham Rock. He's my first ancestor documented on record since colonization. He's an African. He's the first of my ancestors, of either of my ancestors, whether it be native or be African, that was on these records. Abraham married Ruth. Ain't that crazy? Abraham married Ruth, who was a daughter of a Welsh man and a Lenape woman. And that's where my story began. And it weaved in and out. Various different communities, tribes. I got the blood of Chief Bowles in me. Got a bunch of stuff in me. Got great Africans who came over here and achieved freedom, was able to own land as early as the 1700s. Free people of color intermarried with Indians, who was always free. That's a story that these ABOs is trying to hijack. As soon as we started to share, them motherfuckers was sitting there listening, and then they grabbed our story and tried to run with it and perverted it. And now they try to silence us when we motherfucking stand up against them. That's why they over there talking about Turtle Gang, but they'll never approach Turtle Gang. That's on everything. That's on everything. They know the difference. They don't want the people to know the difference, because they want to blood suck and they want y'all to they want y'all to support them, but they're not taking you nowhere. And guess what? I ain't taking you nowhere either. I'm telling you to go home. I'm telling you to go see your people. Get your people together. And once you got your people together, come bring your people to see us. And my people gonna sit down with your people and we're gonna get right. And if we related, it's even better. If not, we're gonna get right together. We're gonna create community, real community. I'm trying to create community. We're trying to heal wounds. You know, and everything is real. All y'all that be trying to hold Turtle Gang back and be talking and be slandering us, when you realize the error of your ways, I'm telling you, you can just be like, peace, my bad, I'm sorry. I'm not going to hold that shit against y'all. But you're going to have to bear witness. You're going to have to bear witness you was wrong, and then we can move forward. I am that petty. You have to bear witness you was wrong. Then I'm good. So yeah, trying to break this crib down so we can get this place remodeled. All right. Probably pop back later. Sir Joshua, thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Everybody else that's out there, appreciate y'all. Please feel free to pull up anytime I'm live. You know what I mean? Want to build. Got something you want to teach me? I'm more than open to learning. Just know I'm a type of student that scrutinizes everything because I really want to learn. So as long as you don't try and sell me nothing on face value, I'm open to learn whatever you got to fucking share. Just don't expect me to take it on face value, and know that I get a little offended when you do ask me to take anything on face value. You ain't earned that yet. Let's have some dialogue. Let's create a relationship. You know what I mean? Let's create a cachet of exchanges. So now I could begin to possibly give you the benefit of the doubt on some things you have to say. But you just can't come into somebody's house and expect them to take something on face value. So on that note, man, peace to everybody. Stay in your genealogy, do your genealogy for real. Don't just find out who your ancestors are. Find out what they owned. See what I'm saying? It's more to your story than who they were. You got to find out the things they own, because you might be able to find out the things they was cheated out of. That's everybody. All right. On that note, peace, good night.